The Deathslinger, a killer that released alongside the Chains of Hate DLC on March 10th, 2020, is arguably one of the most fun killers to learn and get good at. And today we're going to be teaching you how to do so. We will go over everything from the killer's power to the stats to how to actually play the killer. And with that said, let's get started. The Deathslinger comes with a 4.4 meters a second base movement speed and a 32 meter terror radius. His power, the Redeemer, lets him reel in survivors with a modified harpoon gun where you must aim down sights and fire like in first-person shooters. When ADSing, your speed is reduced to 3.4 meters a second and your FOV is also reduced. When firing, you'll launch a harpoon at 40 meters a second or a fully charged Huntress Hatchet and reduce your movement speed to 2.2 meters a second. Should you miss, you will go through a 1.5 second recovery time. Should you hit, you'll be able to reel in the survivor at 2.6 meters a second. However, survivors can be able to break the chain by getting caught on obstacles. Also, whether you hit or you miss, you will have to reload after every shot, which that will be 2.75 seconds for a reload time base kit without add-ons. And your max range is 18 meters. And that is basically covers the power. Now let's get on to how to actually play the Deathslinger. That we know how the power actually works, now it's time to learn how to aim this damn thing. Whenever it comes to aiming and preparing to take a shot, you gotta remember three things, as these three things are key to whether or not you hit the shot or you miss it entirely. And those three things are prediction, positioning, and timing. Prediction takes up like 50% of learning Deathslinger. And what I mean by prediction is predicting survivor movements. You gotta basically be able to think, okay, they're running to that pallet, I should go prime a shot and prepare to hit them whenever they reach the pallet. And it's all about trying to figure out where the survivor's gonna go and then use the harpoon to cut them off. Now the second thing is positioning. You gotta make sure you're in the proper position to be able to pull off the shot. Because if they're right behind a wall, you're not gonna be hitting that shot. Unless there's like a crack in the wall. But it doesn't mean that you get a down. As with the power, if you break the chain, you'll get stunned, but if they're healthy, they'll be injured, but you cannot down via this method. You have to reel them in and hit them with the bayonet that's on the end of your gun in order to properly down them. So anyways, you want to make sure you're in the proper position to do so. And then the third and final thing that you need to learn is timing. Timing is key. You could have the best positioning and the best predictions in the world, but it won't mean squat if you don't know how to time the shot. Because if you do it too early, you miss. You do it too late, you miss. You gotta make sure every shot counts, because the more shots you miss, the more time you're wasting trying to reel back in your harpoon and reload. Because remember, you have to reload after every shot to make them count. Otherwise, you'll end up wasting too much time. And that's generally the overall tips on how to play this Deathslinger. Now it's time to move on to builds. Now, what I recommend running is something like this. You don't have to run these perks, but there are some perks that are really good on Slinger, and then some you should avoid. The thing like, play with your food. You want to avoid this at all costs, because your harpoon, every time you hit your harpoon or use it, you'll end up using stacks, so that does not combo well. Deathslinger works best with perks that make it so he doesn't have to go around and kicking gens. Because he is a 4.4 movement speed killer with a 32 meter turret radius, he does not have the movement speed to be going around the map everywhere. You want to run perks to compensate for that. A good perk is Jolt. Whenever you down someone with the basic attack, causes all survivors within 32 all generators, I mean, not survivors, all generators within 32 meter terror radius to explode instantly and begin regressing. Generators affected by this are immediately lose 8% of their progress. This is really good on Slinger, especially because you could, with your harpoon, because you're dragging the survivor towards you, you can effectively choose what spots the survivor goes down. So you could choose what generators are affected, essentially. This isn't always the case, but usually in those situations it would be very good. Deadlock is just good on all killers. It doesn't matter what killer you play, Deadlock is always good. It basically makes it so after a gen is repaired, the next gen with the most progress is blocked for 30 seconds. This is good for everyone. It's universally good. Another good perk is save the best for last on Deathslinger. This is a really good perk. Basically makes it so anytime you hit anyone that's not the obsession, you'll get in 5% decrease in its attack cooldowns, that stacks up to 8%, and then hitting your obsession with a basic attack causes you to lose 2 tokens. This is good on Slinger. That way you could just quickly reload, hit them, reel them in, and it just saves you so much time as a Slinger. And also it makes Slinger is one of the killers that has an easier time saving stacks than others, since breaking the chain does not count as a basic attack, it counts as a special, meaning you don't lose stacks. So if you're very optimal, you could be able to lose 2 stacks per chase with the obsession. And that's pretty damn good. There are other perks you can run, but honestly, this is like my personal favorite build on Slinger. And for add-ons, I recommend you since there's not really a whole lot of fantastic add-ons, your best bet is to run something like miss cooldown and reload time. Miss cooldown and reload time are arguably the best ones. If you want to get a little bit crazier, you could run the Bayshore Cigar, which decreases the stun duration when survivors break free by a second, and this is pretty good. It decreases it by a lot. This is also a pretty good one. And you could run Eerie Coin, but the issue with Eerie Coin is that it's very hit or miss on whether or not you actually get value out of this. It's not very consistent. So if you don't mind that it's a little inconsistent, you could run this. But if you're looking for consistency, I recommend running something else. And then there's Prison Chain. These ones, they're okay. The increasing the chain durability. they're okay. The rest, don't even really bother with the rest. The rest are not really that great. Yep, but best add-ons are definitely Warden's Keys and Tin Oil Can. Faster reload time and decreased miss cooldown are the way to go. And with that, that is effectively everything to learn about Deathslinger. The rest takes time. The rest of the things you need to learn, well, is just something that can't really be taught. It's more something you learn by playing the killer more and more. You'll get better at hitting those shots and getting down on those 3 core fundamentals to hitting shots with practice. Practice always makes perfect. This killer has a very high skill ceiling, and it's going to take time to get good at. But once you do, you'll be an absolute monster in 1v1 chases. And with that, we reached the end of this video. If you liked this and were finding it helpful, please like and subscribe. And yeah, that'll be all for me. See you all next time, everyone.